This episode is brought to you by Hardscaper.com. The Hardscaper mission is to empower industry professionals with the skills, inspiration, and confidence they need to take their businesses to new heights. Struggling with training programs for your team? Looking for helpful tips to build a better company? Subscribe today to gain access to hours of interactive on-demand Hardscape construction and business courses for free. Check out Hardscaper.com. You're listening to Hardscape Growth, a podcast for hungry professionals who want to grow their businesses and level up. Well, thank you for joining me here on the show.
Yeah.
Matt, you're a training and onboarding expert. It's the time of year where contractors are really focused on what are the next steps to build their business, what new tools, what new equipment, but also what new people.
For sure.
And you have said that people's onboarding is broken. I would argue that for a lot of people, they don't even have an onboarding plan. Why is that so important?
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to talk to so many contractors, and the number one thing they rely on is just on-the-job training. They hire a guy on Friday, throw him on a crew on Monday, and that just kicks off kind of the starting point of future problems and headaches that are just going to keep creeping up until you formally show them what great looks like and how to get started.
So like instead of speaking conceptually, like if we make it as tangible as we can, what does that mean?
Yeah, so they understand the budget as an example. So they understand man hours, estimated hours versus production hours. So they know how to meet those goals. They know how to do an efficient install. An example might be base prep. So they pull up, and a new person that's never really installed the backyard kind of patio, they just show up and start excavating the dirt, ready to put in the stone. And what you should do first is obviously take a grade measurement. Otherwise, a new hire is going to take way too much dirt out. Then you got to bring it all back. You got to build it up. And that efficiency is just gone out the window, where if you trained them to take that grade first, they might have to do a little bit less work and get the job done faster.
Mm-hmm. And avoid extra soil to haul out, extra trips to the
Absolutely.
dump, all that extra stuff. So if we're establishing that a good onboarding helps employees get to a higher production rate, they make less mistakes, they get more done in a day faster, earlier in their career, that's good. But we also said it helps with the retention of people.
Huge.
What's the number one reason actually why people don't end up lasting in a company?
It's framed as a dead-end job, for lack of a better word. Like, hey, you're just hired here. You're just a general laborer. You're just here to move stone. And that's what your future looks like at our company. And when people don't see a future, they just see it as a dead-end work. They're just going to hop around companies. They might go across the road for $1 more an hour. It just becomes this problem. Whereas if you can turn it into a career at your company and build a career development program and show them that there is a path forward, there is a future here, here's all the steps you have to take to get there, and here's a program to help you get there, the retention becomes really sticky. And we're seeing it across the board. And this is the number one thing that drives that retention is career programs. And we've seen it drop. One customer was around 55% employee turnover. Now they're in the low teens. Another customer has dropped it down by 20%. So they're hiring less. People are staying longer. And what's happening is they're now building super crews because the people are staying longer and the efficiency and the knowledge is getting better and better. So you end up with a team of 3 or 4 people that have been there multiple years. They're very well trained. They're very well skilled. And when you have multiple crews at that level, you might need less middle managers because these crews are now efficient. They know what great looks like. They need very little management. So now you don't need as much middle managers as well to help them succeed.
So if I'm a smaller company, let's say I'm an owner operator.
Yeah.
It's me, 2-3 guys in the truck, or maybe I'm just adding a second crew. What does good onboarding look like for me? Because we've established if I don't have it, I can have more turnover. I can have frustrated employees. People feel like it's a dead-end job. Also, they're not super efficient. And the other thing we didn't mention is like literally everything that has to happen on the job needs me involved.
Yeah,
And that's obviously a problem if I'm trying to grow the business.
absolutely.
I can't grow the business if I'm here doing everything all the time. I'm not doing anything else that would lead to change within the company. So having established all that, what does good onboarding look like, and how can I do that simply if I've never done it before?
Yeah, so there's a difference between onboarding and training. So training is you've identified a skills gap, an efficiency problem. You're going to use training to go out and solve that problem. Onboarding is a warm welcome into the culture of your company. Now, training is very much a part of onboarding, but the goal of onboarding is to welcome that employee to your company. So I say onboarding starts the second you've sent out that job offer. So once you send out that job offer, the next thing I would do is send out a personalized email to the employee, not a canned email, but make it personal saying, hey, welcome to our company. You start on Monday. Here's our lunch policy. I've attached a map of the shop. This is where I want you to park. This is where the washrooms are. This is where you're going to go for morning rollout. And maybe there's a link to a YouTube video you record. It's just yourself giving that employee a warm welcome to your company. Maybe talk about your business goals, your core values. And put together this nice email. And as soon as they accept that offer, boom, that email goes out. So before they've even been on the property, they're starting to get introduced to the culture. Next, they show up. You want to start with tools that they're going to be using right away. So a new hire on a Monday might not be hopping into a skid steer at that time, but they could be using a plate tamper. They could be using a stone saw. So pick those specific tools they're going to be using and have a checklist. So inside Greenius, we have full online training and a checklist. We have this all put together. But even if you're not a Greenius customer, just create a checklist for each piece of equipment so you know every crew leader is training the exact same way. So if you have 2 crew leaders or 3 crew leaders, they're all checking the same boxes. And show them the PPE required, show them how to fuel it, show them how to start a cold engine versus a warm engine, have them cut some materials so you know that they know what they're doing. And this is one example where a contractor had a new hire. They had him come in and they said, hey, I need you to go in the shop and grab the blue fuel and fuel all the equipment. We're about to leave the yard today.
Why do I feel like I know where this is going?
I think you know where you're going. So the employee goes in the shop looking for the mixed gas. It gets that bluish tinge when you add the oil, grabs all the blue fuel, starts fueling all the blowers, getting ready, thinks he's just killing it, doing the best job today. And the crew leader comes up to grab the equipment and he looks over and he sees an empty pile of windshield washer fluid jugs. So the employee grabbed the blue fuel and fueled everything with windshield washer fluids. So it was a $6,000 mistake to go out and fix all the equipment he had damaged.
Yeah.
But if you're at a 10% profit margin, that's a $60,000 mistake. You got to go out and now sell and service $60,000
to make back that $6,000.
To make back that $6,000. Yeah. Whereas if that employee just had been trained through proper onboarding what mixed fuel looks like and how to mix it, right away, you just save $60,000 worth of work.
Would you say that's a good example of, even at a small level, a good onboarding plan pays for itself? Because
100%.
It takes time to build out the onboarding plan, like you're saying. Like we're only 2 steps in, but writing the personalized email, shooting a little video, building a checklist for every piece of equipment, like I got other shit to do.
100%.
But it pays for itself because otherwise.
Yeah, even a very high level, starting at getting it paid for, I always say to our customers is like, put it in your overhead. So first of all, take the cost of your training, divide it by your production hours, and just add it into your estimate hours. And why that works is the customers benefit from well-trained employees on their property, right? So then the customer benefits because you're showing up with well-trained guys. In your quotes and estimates, say we're bringing Greenius certified or certified trained guys to your property, and then it's in your overhead. So first of all, you can get your training paid for through your estimates, right?
Yeah.
So then on top of that, you get into new hires and all the damaged equipment the warranty callbacks, just
And the downtime associated
the
to it.
downtime, just the problems that new hires make. If you can reduce that by 50%, again, your training program's paid for. So training goes so much beyond an expense, and it just starts becoming an asset. And we're seeing this, like this is becoming tangible. I know one customer had $10,000 in damaged equipment. The next year they dropped that down to almost none. So they're plus 10 grand just rolling out training programs. We had another customer that was averaging 4 to 6 injuries a year that required an insurance claim.
Okay.
So their insurance company's like, look, you guys got to step up here. You can't keep this pace up. So they rolled out a training and onboarding program. They went a year and a half with none. So these benefits just keep coming back, and they don't get tied into training. Training's not sexy, but employee development, careers, and certifications, those are sexy to employees.
So what's step 3 then? 1 was email, 2 was intro to the tools.
Yeah. So email first, intro to the tools. And then what I would get into is role-based specific training. So I would say, okay, what is the role of this employee? And I would build a full kind of check mark program. So if they're going to be on a design build team, what's everything they're going to be doing over the next 12 months? And let's map that out in a program. So
every task that they might need.
Every task they might have. So
Okay.
do they understand base prep? Do they understand job site setup? Do they understand skid steer? And skid steer is a great example where you might only have a handful of operators using the skid steer, but the visibility can be poor. It's great for people to understand that the drivers might not see them. So they got to be aware of the skid steer. They got to know how to work around a skid steer to keep safe and just really understand the driver's experience. So I make everyone watch skid steer. I would have them watch landscape tractor. I would have them watch engines of fuel basics so they understand don't put the dyed diesel in your field trucks, right? So they understand how to mix fuel. What is dyed diesel? A new person might not even understand the difference of dyed diesel. So I'd get them through that. I would get them through personal safety, working in hot conditions, working around heat stroke, how to recognize it in your teammates, how to deal with it. Cold conditions, if you're going to be working in the colder months, how do you deal with that? So I would take out my 12 months. I would build a career training path for each role, and then I would build it into levels. So a new hire probably isn't on a skid steer yet, but now they're going to be moving into a level 2 technician. And when you have these tiered technician training roles, almost like apprenticeships, that's where you can tie in wages as well. So as their skills grow, as their efficiency grow, you can now give them higher wages. So now they have a path forward, because the reality is not everyone can be a crew leader. Not everybody can be an ops manager. So you're only going to have so many. So how do you keep forward momentum at your company? It's create levels at each role that they can graduate up into.
What's that look like for real?
Yeah. So a level 1 would be your new hire basics. Your level 2 would be your more heavier equipment. And then your level 3, you're going to get into the soft skills of the crew leader training. So what I see a lot happening is usually the best technician gets promoted to a crew leader. But what is skipped is the soft skill training, the budget training, and everything else that goes with being a crew leader. They're just a taskmaster, so they promote them. And then it turns out they're terrible people, or they didn't understand their impact on the budget. So level 3, I remain for preparing for the crew leaders. And then from there, you can get into kind of branch manager, ops managers, depending on how high you want to go.
I think that's an important point, though. It's not where we were going to go intentionally, but the crew leader often is just the best technician that has been there the longest. And like, okay, well, you're the captain now, but I don't know how to be the captain.
You don't know.
I don't know what the plan of the day, like I know what the tasks are to do, but I don't know the impact on the budgeted hours because we haven't had that conversation. I don't know how to manage when guys show up late, how to not turn it into a big nasty confrontation, or a guy isn't
Absolutely.
wearing his PPE. How do I address that in a productive way that
Yeah,
keeps him on site and doesn't have him just throw his shit in the truck and leave?
100%. So we have a course on dealing with difficult employees. It's like if two employees are just having this verbal fight or sometimes a physical fight right in front of you, how do you resolve that? How do you deal with that, right? It's rarely trained or talk about. Or the crew leader often faces difficult customers, right? So how do they deal with that homeowner that's really unhappy with the job? They come out of their house, they're really angry. How are they going to confront that situation and protect the brand, protect the job, and resolve the problem? If you haven't taught them how to do that,
That could be very expensive.
it could be very
They
expensive.
don't want to have a confrontation. They just agree to whatever the homeowner says. Next thing you know, you have a change order that costs you $10,000 because they said they're going to do it and they started doing it, and now you got to finish it.
100%. And I've also heard the other way where the crew leader promised something and didn't communicate it on. So then we said, yeah, we'll do that. No problem. And that was the end of it. And then the homeowner was expecting that. And it just turned out to be a big thing that really hurt the reputation. And that crew leader was just never trained what to do and what steps they can take and what their impact is. Your crew leaders have massive impact that I don't think is talked about enough. They can drive the turnover at the company. If they're a terrible manager, the employees will quit from them. Could be a great company. They just hate their manager. They quit. Their impact on the budget. An example would be if you have a truck and trailer loaded with equipment, you have the crew members in there, you drive to the job site and you're like, oh, we forgot something. We forgot a shovel we need today. And if he just pulls a UE and drives 30 minutes back to the shop to grab that shovel and then drives all the way back, that shovel just cost $800, right? He should have just gone to the job site, unloaded the equipment, got everyone working, send someone back to grab it. And then this is the mindset that we really help try to cultivate. And that's the power of good training.
So are there any other steps in the onboarding you would recommend at this point?
Yeah. So at the 30-day, do a check-in with the employee. So just have a conversation, give them some constructive feedback. And along this whole process, it's not about I gotcha moments. It's not about everything you're doing wrong. It's about building them up and it's about training. So at 30 days, do a check-in. Let's identify what's going really well. Let's identify where you're weaker. Let's put a plan together to fix those areas you're weaker. And also ask them, how are you doing? How are you liking the job? How are you thriving here? So do a 30-day check-in, a 60-day check-in, and then a 90-day exit check-in. At the 90 days, you want to verify their skills. This employee could work well alone. So now I trust them enough at a job site. If I have to hop out and pop over to another job site, I know this guy is going to be doing well. After 90 days, I've evaluated him. He's good to go. And then at the 90-day mark, also take a second to have a conversation with the employee. Just say, what are your career goals? What do you want to do at this company? Where do you see yourself in 3 years?
At that point, you're saying?
At the 90-day point, is have that conversation.
You can manage that conversation more effectively because you know what you have now.
You know what you have.
Yeah.
And they also know what's available at your company. So they might want to be a carpenter someday on the design build team. So they started as a general labor on a design build team, but they're like, hey, in 3 years, I want to be a carpenter at your company. You're like, okay, great. Here's a training path we'll build with you to get you there.
Yeah.
So now over the next 3 years, you do all these trainings, you do some job shadowing, you do some check-ins. We'll get you to that position. And now that employee is going to be stuck with you for 3 years because they're working towards a personal goal. But it benefits you
because we're doing it together.
You're doing it together. And that and career pass and training pass is one of the most stickiest things you can do for retention. It's just insanely powerful.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense. I think what I like is you made it really simple. You hire them, send an email right away, personalized, welcoming them. And a video is a great way to not have to do this custom thing every single time. this is my company. This is how we operate. This is what we aspire to be in the community that we serve, blah, 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 blah. Great. These are the tools you're going to be using in the first couple weeks. This is how they work. These are the checklists your crew leader knows, and he's going to run through to make sure that you're not putting washer fluid in the sauce.
And one thing I want to call out right there is have the employees sign the checklist and then the crew leader sign the checklist.
We both acknowledge that.
We both acknowledge that, A, I know what I'm doing. Crew leader acknowledges, I know what you're doing. And then that checklist can double as your training record. So then
that helps with your insurance.
That helps with your insurance. That helps with an OSHA audit. So if that employee does get hurt and you need to prove you put them through a training, you can bring out that checklist and said, hey, here's everything we went through. They signed, we signed. It just gives you that leg to stand on.
That's super important too. I agree. Then from there, role specific training based on what they're going to be doing throughout the year. So they made it through the first couple days, weeks. Now they're going to start touching other stuff. So we make sure that they're exposed to all of it. From there, we get to 30 days. It's been a month. How are we doing? What's good? What's less good that we need to focus on? I need you to get better at these things and see how their experience has been. What's it been like for you so far? Are there issues? Are there challenges? Are there things that I can help you with or the team can help you with so that you feel more at home here and prepared to be more successful?
100%. I read a recent survey and people ranked feedback as important as what they're getting paid. It's becoming
having the ability to provide that feedback, you mean?
Getting the feedback from their manager is being ranked as important as what their salary is. It's insane. People want to hear how they're doing. Everybody wants to know how they're doing. And it's often skipped. And it's not skipped out of malice. It's skipped because we're so busy.
Yeah.
And having this program just forces them to stop at 30 days and just have that conversation.
And that's an easy one to make sure you don't miss. You hire them 30 days from now, put it in your calendar. It's there.
It's there. It's done. You do it in the truck over coffee at the job site. Yeah. Like you don't even have to, you don't have
to go like to
it doesn't have to be a big production.
Yeah. Okay. Then the 90 days, you said exit. So that's like we're exiting the onboarding
phase. The onboarding phase. So
okay. And that's where we start talking about goals. You've been here for 3 months. Where do you see yourself going? How can we help you get there?
100%.
Here's what I see. Here's what I think I can help you do. And then from there, we set the career path. And hopefully, if we're doing all the things we mutually set out to do, you're going to want to stick around for a long time because we're on the same page and we're working towards
the same page. Okay. And where career paths start gaining some power is when you have business goals. So say next year, you're like, okay, we want to grow 20% next year. Well, to grow 20% next year, I'm going to need 2 new crews. I'm going to need 2 people to run those crews. Well, what you can do over the next year is take your best seconds, put them on a crew leader training path and saying, hey, I want you to run a crew next year. Here's everything you have to learn over the next 12 months. And then when you're ready to grow next year, you have 2 crew leaders that you know are trained how you want things done, ready to go.
That's smart. And that's what sets you up for success. When it's time to pull the trigger, you have the farm team you can call up.
Exactly. I use that analogy all the time, the farm team, right? You start building your own farm team because there's a labor problem out there, right? And I know companies that have crew leader positions out there and they're well-paying positions and they're not getting applicants. Yeah. So you need to look at ways to build your own leaders, and training pass is a great way. And I say, if you can get your goals to align with the employees' goals, it's just a win-win because they're working towards a management position. You're filling your need for crew leaders next year. Combining, everybody's winning.
Everyone gets what they want.
And then the system, it just takes on a life.
Okay. Before we wrap up here, why don't you tell us a little bit about how Greenius helps you do all this stuff? Because everything you're saying makes sense, but you built the platform to do that.
Yeah, so I want to call out, Greenius was built inside a large landscape company. We had, at the time, I believe 130, 140 employees. We were split between design build and we were split between maintenance. And we just had a turnover problem where when somebody would leave, that knowledge and that investment is just going out the door with them. And we were just constantly starting from scratch. So the owner said, okay, we need to build a training program. And we decided to do it online. So we wanted to build videos. We wanted to have tests. We wanted to have checklists. We wanted to make it all online for the team. So we spent 2 years building it. And then we put all our employees through it. And we started seeing the power of this. We started seeing that knowledge transfer. And I call this out a lot, like as business owners, you know what great looks like. Like you pull up to a job site, it's already done in your head. You know how to knock it out of the park. You know how to make it perfect. You know how to get it done well. How do you get that knowledge out of your head into all these new hires, right? And with Greenius, we help you build a repeatable system that takes all your tribal knowledge and makes it easy to transfer it out to your team. So now, if your best trainer quits the company, well, the system is beyond that trainer that you can just promote somebody up and it keeps rolling along. The knowledge keeps transferring through the system.
If people want to reach out to you or pick your brain a little bit, they're starting to build this, they have some specific questions about what can make it most impactful, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, granum.com, click on Greenius. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Matt Crinklaw on LinkedIn. Or my personal email is matt.crinklaw@granum.com. Send me an email. I'll hop on Zoom. I hop on Zooms all the time with customers. It's one of my most favorite things to do. And I'll just ask you about your business. I can help you with suggestions, share what people are doing. We can build a specific program at your company. It's not a sales call. It's like a strategy help call. So I'm always available to answer questions.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about this show is just getting people who are genuinely willing and want to help. And you just gave your personal email, so there's no hiding from it now.
No.
But take advantage of that opportunity because, like we said, training and onboarding can really help make your business a lot easier to manage, run a lot more smoothly, be a lot more profitable, and allow you to do more of the fun stuff that got you involved in the business in the first place.
For
and
sure.
Matt, you just made yourself available to everybody, whether
Anytime.
that's here right now once we get off the stage, in the Granum booth, or online.
Yeah, I've given out my card, I think, to 5 people out on the floor today already and just said, like, it's just a conversation. Like, it's not a sales pitch. I'm not going to pitch you Greenius. I'm going to help you build a program. And that's what I care about. And you might use Greenius to execute it. You might start with a different way, but I just see the power of training and onboarding. And I'm just out there to help everybody get started.
Okay. Awesome. Matt, I want to thank you for joining us on the show. And
Awesome.
Until next time, everyone, work hard, pave harder. And everyone here, if you want to talk to Matt, we'll be off on the side here.
Yeah.
As soon as we get off the stage.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Alex.
You've been listening to Hardscape Growth, a podcast for hungry professionals who want to grow their businesses and level up. Each episode is all about taking the next step in running your business. So make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on your favorite podcast player. And if you're finding this information to be useful, help others in your position discover us by giving us a star rating and leaving a comment. We'll see you next week.